pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of Bowling Green City Council. We're glad you're all here tonight. Kay, would you please begin by calling the roll?
Osbacher.
Here.
Harold.
Here.
Hollenbach.
Here.
Jeffers.
Here.
Robinette.
Here.
Roland.
Here.
Zanfordino.
Here.
The minutes from the meeting that was held on November 5th, 2018 were presented to council prior to this meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. The minutes are approved as presented. Kay, do we have correspondence this evening?
Yes. Distributed to you on Friday via email were two commission appointments requested by the mayor. One is, they're both new appointments, an appointment to the Human Relations Commission, Justin White, for 3 years with a term ending 5/31/22, and an appointment to the Planning Commission of Mr. Nate Spittler for a 6-year term ending 5/31/24. And we need a motion to approve those appointments.
Thank you, Kay. Is there a motion to approve the appointment commissions?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. The appointments are approved as presented.
That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Kay. Mr. Mayor, do we have a special recognition this evening?
Thank you very much, Mr. President, members of council, and all assembled. I'm going to ask Tony Vetter, our new managing director of downtown Bowling Green, if he would please come forward. This Friday gets all kinds of names, doesn't it? Is it Black Friday is the one that's the most prevalent? I don't think this reflects Black Friday, but
No, it doesn't.
But-
But it does relate to shopping.
Small Business Saturday.
Yeah.
That's the most important one there because, Tony, we know, and you know so very, very well, and and everyone here too, that small businesses are the backbone of our Bowling Green economy here. We know the university, we know our industrial sector, but on a day in, day out basis, it's certainly the small businesses and helping to keep a vibrant downtown Bowling Green. And so it means so much to have this recognition. We do it every year. It becomes kind of, I hate to say pro forma, but it has each time, I think, I'd like to think that it carries special meaning with it because it's another reminder that according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are currently 28.8 million small businesses in the United States, represent more than 99% of American employer firms. Just amazing. These statistics, we could go on, and small businesses employ over 48% of the working population in the United States, and 90% of the consumers in the United States agree small businesses contributed positively to the local community, and that's certainly the case with Bowling Green. And I'd also have to say the advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. And we were kind of making, it is a break-even day for a lot of businesses. And so we hope that's the case for all of our small businesses, and especially those that, throughout the whole of the community. But again, to repeat, downtown Bowling Green is so important to our economy and keeping it alive and well, and all the many people that make that happen there. So Tony, on behalf of City Council, the citizens of Bowling Green, and all of us here, I just want to present you with this proclamation that I hope will be displayed down at Four Corners.
It will be.
And let's all hope for the very, very best on Small Business Saturday. But Tony Vetter, thank you so much. If you'd like to say anything more on behalf of small businesses, you're welcome.
This is my first proclamation, so it means a little bit more to me. So thank you very much. Small Business Saturday started in 2010, and it was due to the recession. And that was one way to help small businesses come out of the recession. So it's been around for 8 years, going on 9. It on the average year, it will bring about $10 billion into the economy in just that one day across the U.S. So all 50 states participate, and it was started by American Express. And I also want to state that small businesses just aren't necessarily downtown. They are outside of our downtown area too. There are small businesses. So with the work of the chamber and their help and working in partnership together, we're able to help all those businesses in our area have a great Saturday. And remember, shop small is not just this weekend, it's all year round. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lobby visitation. Kay, has anyone signed up to address council?
Yes, we have one person, Julian De Leon Guerrero. I do okay on that?
Would you please approach the microphone and state your name and address for the record, please? Thank you.
My name is Julian De Leon Guerrero. My address is 103 South Main Street, apartment 15 in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Thank you.
Can I just...
Please.
Okay. So I'm a graduate student in public administration at Bowling Green State University, and obviously that's of great relevance to local government. My dream job is to one day be presenting reports, much like the accomplished people here. And part of my education at Bowling Green has been extensive history classes. I love history. I've recently been taking a local history course, and I decided for my local history paper to write a paper about the Bowling Green's financial history during the 1970s, time of great conflict, turmoil in America, and I wish to see how Bowling Green fared. I've been able to get a lot of help and resources in learning about it. I obtained the microfilms of the illustrious Mayor F. Gus Skibby, his mayor reports to citizens and council. I looked through the old financial reports from 1973 to 80, and I even managed to find budgets from fiscal year 1980 and fiscal year 1982. And I even got the chance to talk with former municipal administrator Colleen Smith, who was kind and generous enough to also bring her friend, the former finance director Rebecca Underwood. And overall, it's been a great opportunity. Something that I've noticed, however, that Bowling Green has lacked is maintaining records. I mentioned that I was able to find a financial report for 1973 through 80, as well as 2 fiscal years for the Bowling Green budgets. That is about it. I have been able to find other incomplete records. The Sentinel Tribune reports on a lot of it, but obviously that will be very incomplete and very just summary. Appropriation ordinances allow me to fill in some of the spending information, but obviously that doesn't describe the revenue that the city has gathered in the past or very much in the present. And obviously Bowling Green does release budgets each year, but they're not easily obtainable. And as far as I'm aware, having looked on the finance department website, they only have one that's easily downloadable. And I believe, having talked to finance director Brian Fouchong, he said that the Bowling Green keeps something like 5 years back or 3 years back in the budgets. And I feel like that's a deep kind of lack of service, well, not service, but opportunity for Bowling Green. Budgets, as boring as they are to actually read through, and I speak as someone who very much wants to work in a finance department one day, are critical to examining past municipal history and towns like these. If you've ever seen how Bowling Green responded to the 1970s and their willingness to respond to the fiscal crises that the city was presented with during that time, it's amazing. And seeing how the budget was able to escalate to meet these demands is incredible. And I think we're missing out on something very great and very dear if we don't maintain these budgets. And so I came up here to speak to City Council today to ask and request that perhaps they could consider making a greater effort to ensure that these budgets are preserved, that they are maintained. I know there is the Center for Archival Collections. They might be willing to save budgets if you were to send them to them. They have many Bowling Green municipal records already. That's where I obtained a lot of my information. And the library keeps some of the budgets from Bowling Green, but obviously, as I've stated, there aren't a lot that are still in existence. And so if you want to look at budgets of Bowling Green, basically you have a brief history in the 1970s and 80s, and then you have the modern day budgets, and those disappear if people don't bother saving them on their hard drives and sharing them with others. And so that's basically it. I would like it if city council and Bowling Green city government would be willing to ensure that those records are saved for the future.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations on your research. It sounds very extensive. We do appreciate you coming to council this evening, and we'll take your recommendations under advisement. I will say that there are very strict guidelines and rules and regulations as it relates to record retention, and I know that the city is compliant in every way necessary in those areas. So I'll have to do a little bit of checking to find out specifically how budgets, financial information that information is retained. But I do appreciate you coming this evening.
I'm very grateful for you having me.
Yes, thank you.
Julian, also, your research sounds real interesting, and when you're all done, maybe you'd make a couple copies for us.
Absolutely.
It would be great also if you came again and presented the high points. And I commend you for working on your master's in public administration and policy, and Rika is the one that also completed the program. Good for you.
Julian, I'd like to say if you're able to stick around, you might get some answers to what you're looking for after the meeting tonight, because I know we're mandated to keep those records. Someone from the administration can probably guide you to where they are.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are there others that have signed up?
That's it.
Very good, thank you. We will skip over the introduction of new legislation. We have no legislation for first reading this evening, and proceed to our official reports. Mr. Mayor.
Just being reminded about record retention policies that we comply with every aspect of it with the state of Ohio. So, but that's a topic for another day. So, in any event, thank you very much, and Mr. President, members of council, and all assembled. I would have to say that this last weekend we really lucked out, weather-wise and otherwise. It was I don't want to go through chapter and event by event, but starting there on Friday night with Coach Freilich and her children and her husband Tim with the holiday tree, and all the cooperation that went into that. Tony Vetter and downtown Bowling Green, and it was just the weather cooperated. It was just a delightful time. Chief Mormon is sitting in the back there, but he was at the wheel of the big truck that we can all pretend like we're kids, like Clara and Will. We're enjoying it so much, riding along there in the fire truck. And but that was just a wonderful occasion. Everything happened, including the good work of the Bowling Green Electrical Division, because a couple of years ago, I think we put the thing in, nothing quite happened there. We were lacking. Brian, you don't remember that, do you? You never heard anything about it? No, but everything really clicked, and the same was true on Saturday with the parade. It was just something to see so many people out all along the way, and I thought that Jerry Anderson and Jordan Strack just did a terrific job there. From what I didn't get to see any of it really, but I've had so much feedback everywhere I go. People said, "Well, we saw it on television." I said, "Well, not only were a lot of people obviously watching this, but we had such terrific crowds all along the parade route there." And so it was a good experience, and I just can't say enough to about Mary Hinkleman and the Chamber of Commerce and all others that participated and make it such absolutely a terrific event. And I would be very remiss if I didn't also say that the city of Bowling Green should give itself in a corporate sense, a real pat on the back, because when you think of all the time and effort that went into it, and Lori, we're very grateful to you and the entire staff, and I think of Public Works and And of course, it goes on, especially with police and fire and all the efforts that went into it. It made it an exceptionally strong, healthy, wonderful event, and really put a wonderful face on our community as we do a good job at that. And I think that was another case in point. And with that, unless you have any questions of me, I just want to wish you all and everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, and hope things continue to go well. We've got a number of events happening in this short week. It is a short week because we won't be open for business on Thursday and Friday, and but I can only tell you that tomorrow and even on Wednesday there are a lot of things going on there. We even have a delegation in from Turkey. They're going to be taking the mosaics back to Turkey, and that's a great story in and of itself. That was a potentially one of those situations for the university. It could have been a source of great embarrassment, but it really worked out. They did the right and honorable thing, and working with the government of Turkey and identifying the location for those mosaics, and they'll go back, have a proper home, to their proper home, but replicas will be left here at the university. And so, again, it's something very special, not only for the university, but for our community, because it will, and it continues to attract a lot of visitors that are interested in the full story of those mosaics. So with that concludes my report, again, unless you have questions for me.
Are there questions for Mayor Edwards? Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Municipal Administrator, Ms. Treader.
Evening. I'm so glad Sue is here this evening, as she usually is with us, because you have reached a milestone at working with the City of Bowling Green and the Community Development Foundation, that the City of Bowling Green's Business Revolving Loan Fund recently surpassed the $5 million mark in terms of total loans made since the fund's inception. Sue, you have been a big part of that process, working with Brian and other folks here at the City of Bowling Green, Tina Bradley, our grants administrator who oversees that. Just want to tell you a little bit about our city business RLF on this occasion of issuing exceeding our $5 million mark. The city's RLF was established in 1987 as a means of offering gap finance assistance for businesses that create employment for persons at lower income levels within the Bowling Green Corporation limits. The first year, 3 loans were issued totaling $44,481. And within the fund's first 10 years, loans were issued to several businesses that are still operating today. So thinking back to the 87, 97, and just a few examples, Aardvark's Green Printing and Embroidery, Polly Eyes Pizza, Samby's, and the Bowling Green Country Club Pro Shop. 31 years later, we have issued 168 local business loans for a total of $5,047,314. So we are excited to reach that milestone. We congratulate Sue and the others on investing in Bowling Green and creating job opportunities for people here in Bowling Green. And just one other note, since we were talking about budgets, of course, it is budget time of the year, and included in your packet was a letter just requesting that when the budget books are done on Wednesday, that you please let Council Clerk Sherrick know where or when, if you'll be picking up, or if we should deliver it to you, and if so, where it should go. So that completes my report, subject to your questions.
Are there questions for Lori?
Lori, with respect to the parking task force, I don't think it is quite finished, if I'm correct. And since we're pretty busy with budgetary things, are you anticipating it will not be, the task force will not meet again until January?
No, we're going to have them do a follow-up. They had a demonstration that I know a few of you attended, and so we want to have a follow-up conversation with them on that and see if they are ready to make a recommendation back to you. We would hope to do that still within either later this month or in early December, hopefully have their work completed at that time. It will not be in time for your budget books But of course, budgets can be amended as they are throughout the year. And so instead of trying to rush a decision to meet the budget deadline, we thought it best to just allow the process to finish out. And then should you need to make budget amendments, we could do that.
All right, thanks.
And while you're here, Lori, if we did attend the demonstrations and had comments and want to share with anyone on the committee, who would we share with?
I would suggest
Yes.
Council Member Jeffers.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lori. Planning Director, Ms. Savler.
Good evening. Very quickly, just wanted to update you that I did attend the Northwest Ohio Planning and Zoning Conference on Friday in Toledo. Special thanks to Gary and Rose Hess, who attended on behalf of Planning Commission and ZBA. I think it takes very special people to be that interested in zoning and sit there for an entire day as volunteers. So I really appreciate that they went. Also, I plan on forwarding you some presentations that I received regarding historic preservation funding. It was a really fascinating presentation. And there was also a great presentation about Sandusky and their revitalization as a community. So I will share those. Also, on behalf of Not in Our Town, I want to thank you to those who are able to attend the Peace March, and also the speakers, especially the mayor afterwards, for that program. And 2019 news, April 2nd will be the Interfaith Breakfast. I know that's way ahead of time, but I know you're all busy and your calendars get filled up. So if you don't mind writing that down, and we hope to see you there. That's it, unless you have questions.
Are there questions for Heather? Thank you. Parks and Recreation Director, Ms. Otley.
Good evening. One very quick update. If you had not read in media sources, which is incidentally where I always find out about it first, we were awarded the grant that you all approved resolutions for from Wood County Park District for their local park improvement funds, just shy of $20,000. So this will be 2019 money, and that's for the shelter project at Carter Park. Our Parks and Recreation Foundation at their last meeting had actually voted to have wine and cheese funds from next year go to that project as well. So there's our matching funds. So we look forward to starting that project. Just wanted to give you an update since I know that's one of the CAP priorities is Carter Park. So that is all that I have unless you have questions of me.
Are there questions for Kristin? Thank
Thanks.
you. City Attorney, Mr. Marsh. Questions for Mr. Marsh? Thank you. Utilities Director, Mr. O'Connell. Questions for Mr. O'Connell? Thank you. Public Works Director, Mr. Kraft.
I have a county-out update. As Mike probably well knows, the old pump station is no longer in service and has been dismantled. The new pump station's up and running. Curbs went in last Friday. Be some paving this week, and hopefully weather continues to cooperate. We'll get paving finished next week, and that should wrap up that project. We are going to do some work around the pump station in the spring. We're not going to pour the concrete this late in the year, and there's a lot of, if you saw the big hole out there, we want to let that kind of settle out. So that's where we're at with that project, and leaves have continued. We've now moved to Ward 4, and we have yet to get into Ward 1 and 2, and with the holiday when we started, now this week, it'll be next week before we kind of make a good pass through all 4 wards. But there'll be more passes to go, and we'll let everybody know when the final pass is ready to begin.
Great.
That's my report.
Questions for Mr. Kraft?
Ryan, will there be a little landscaping around that pump station eventually?
I believe there were some bushes, if I remember right. Yeah, to kind of soften it up a little bit. So, yep, blend it in.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you all for those reports. Do we have any council committee reports this evening? Seeing none, Kay, would you please guide us through the reading of legislation?
Legislation for first reading. Resolution number 3719, no, for second reading. There's no legislation for first reading.
Thank you.
So this is for second reading. Resolution number 3719 for second reading. Resolution adopting amendments to the Policy and Procedure Manual for the BG Transit. Legislation for third reading. Resolution number 3715 for third reading. Resolution amending and adopting changes to the procurement manual for the BG Transit.
Mr. President,
Mr. Zanfordino.
I move that we adopt Resolution 3715.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes. The motion passes. Resolution 3715 is adopted.
Resolution number 3716 for third reading. Resolution amending and adopting changes to the procurement manual for the Housing Revolving Loan Fund and Community Development Block Grant Fund.
Mr. President,
Mr. Zanfordino.
I move that we adopt Resolution 3716.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
The motion passes. Resolution 3716 is adopted.
Resolution number 3717 for third reading. Resolution amending the City of Bowling Green financial and debt policy.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffers.
I move we adopt Resolution 3717.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh.
Yes.
The motion passes. Resolution 3717 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8720 for third reading. Ordinance creating and adopting Section 132.25 of the codified ordinances of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio, prohibiting smoking on all city park properties.
Mr. President,
Ms. Rowland.
I move we adopt ordinance number 8720.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I do have one question. With regard to this, how does that impact, like if somebody's smoking in their car on park property? Is that a finable offense?
Mr. Marsh, could you help us out there?
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffers.
I'm gonna have to say that I'm going to vote no on this, and I want to give my reason. I think it makes good sense to not allow smoking indoors in public places where people gather. I think outdoors in a parking lot, that's a pretty reasonable place for somebody to go and smoke. I appreciate that the Parks Board is concerned about health, and they have good intentions there. I just think in this case, if a person chooses to smoke and they go to a place that, in my view, is not really bothering anybody else, I can't see adopting this.
Thank you, Bruce.
Mr. President, as Chair of Park and Rec Board, I want to say that the children are really first and foremost when we're looking at children's health. There are many, many children outside playing in the park during the summer. We want them outside playing, and that's where what they are. And there are people that are smoking, and children are inhaling the smoke when they're outside. We have multiple children out there in one given area all the time. And I laud the park board for making this very brave decision and in saying we're doing what's best. There can be arguments for persons' rights to smoke, but we have children amongst us all the time in our park, and we know we're doing what's right. And as chair, I received no negative comments against this ordinance, with people understanding that the parks promote health. And I think it's a brave movement, and it's a movement across the nation, and I'm happy to say that Bowling Green is up there with some of the first people doing it. But it is a movement, according to our Parks Director, who's on the State Board of Parks and Recreation. Many, many parks are going this way.
I'm just curious, Sandy, was it unanimous amongst the park board members?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And it was strongly encouraged by the mayor also.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers.
No.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8720 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8722 for third reading. Ordinance amending and adopting Section 33.04 of the codified ordinances of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio, relative to pay scales for seasonal employees.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffers.
I move we adopt ordinance 8722.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8722 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8724 for third reading. Ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to accept utility easements from the First Presbyterian Church.
I move to adopt ordinance 8724.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
Roland.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8724 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8725 for third reading. Ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to accept a utility easement from Tony Buff Custom Homes.
I move to adopt ordinance 8725.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Osbacher.
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
Hollenbaugh.
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
Roland.
Yes.
Zanfordino.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8725 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8728 for third reading. Ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to enter into a solar project easement and lease agreement with the Wood County Commissioners and the Wood County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
I move to adopt ordinance 8728.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes. The motion passes. Ordinance 8728 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8729 for third reading. Ordinance amending and adopting sections 91.03, 91.07, 91.09, 91.16, and 91.17 of the codified ordinances of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio regarding the cemetery.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
I move that we adopt ordinance 8729.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
Roland.
Yes.
Zanfordino.
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8729 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8730 for third reading. Ordinance amending and adopting section 35.70 of the codified ordinances of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio regarding city fees and fees charged for services.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
I move that we adopt ordinance 8730.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Jeffers,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Zanfordino,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8730 is adopted. That completes the items on our agenda this evening. Is there any other business to come before council? Seeing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. We wish you all a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. Thank you all.
You.